The anime adaptation of If My Wife Became an Elementary School Student finally got a PV and a release date of October, and might I say, Aoyuki sounds fantastic as usual. But yes, with a title like that, engagement farmers had a heyday. They started crying on all social media platforms, namely X, as what I've seen. But yes, the outrage for just the title, let's be honest, it's just the title. The outrage for the title was crazy. Things like FBI open up. Is allowed in Japan? Japan's never going to beat those allegations. Writers has a fetish. Things like that. Yes, the list goes on and on and on. But this is nothing new. If you're an anime fan, this stuff is not new. It was funny because when it was first announced to getting an anime adaptation, nobody said anything. But obviously, because now we have an eye-catching trailer, suddenly out of nowhere, the loud minority starts to want engagements. They want those clicks on their post, how righteous they are. But this is not a video where I go through a bunch of tweets and point and laugh. I typically find tweet tubing to be pretty much pointing out controversies. This is a video where I say the outrage got me intrigued. Mainly because for once, there was so many people that were stepping in and saying, if you didn't read it, then STFU. So I read a good 12 chapters or so just in one sitting. And man, the hate mobs couldn't be more wrong about this series. I assume this series is actually going to be good, but at the same time, it's one of those things of like, just how opposite you can actually get from what people are pulling and assuming just based on a title. But again, I will admit, the title isn't doing it any favors. For one, the title is kind of misleading because essentially what actually happens in the story, and this is it within the first pages, you have essentially, yes, the two of them are husband and wife. At some point 10 years ago, she dies, and it's very sudden. And she's reincarnated into a new child. She's born again in the world itself, and then 10 years later, she actually suddenly remembers her memories. And then she goes back to the husband to see how things are going. It's not that she suddenly just turns into an elementary school student. And I think that's the key thing here. That is the key element that I think the title, at least the English title, does not convey very well. And I think that's, again, why the outrage is there. Now, let me get into some spoilers for the first 12 chapters, because I think this is where if you're on the fence or you're creeped out by the title or you're not sure if this is something you're going to check out, this might actually explain a lot of it to possibly intrigue you to check it out. And it's got a good, 100 chapters or something like that, so I didn't read the whole thing, so things can totally change. I'm going to base a lot of my thoughts on some people that I do trust that it doesn't go in a bad direction, but I've gotten a feeling of what the writer is doing just in these first 12 chapters, and let me tell you, it's extremely heartbreaking. A lot of the early chapters of the series is focused on family specifically. Yes, you have the husband, you have their daughter, and then you have the wife coming back as, again, an elementary school student. She says at some point when she was 10 years old or right now, suddenly out of nowhere, poof, all of her memories came back to her. So she was living in this world in a new family. And that's the key thing to remember here. She has her own family. She has grown up. She's in school. She has a new life. But suddenly she gets these memories, and so she goes back and checks on them. And it turns into a funny thing where wife be the wife. The mother is always the mother. And that's how they quickly realize it's her. Because the moment she gets there, she starts criticizing them. Because the father has basically been depressed for the last 10 years. He has been in a rut. Like, he cannot move forward. He can't smile. He lost his wife. He has massive amount of regrets that he wasn't able to do the things with her that he always wanted to do. He is broken. He is a broken person. And then with the daughter literally is in a rut with her work. She's not been moving forward. She's not getting that job. She doesn't have any relationships or anything like that going for her. She's also kind of stuck. The two of them, the husband and the daughter, are stuck. And the moment that the mother comes back, she immediately starts criticizing them. And they're like, it's like old days. And there's so much in these early moments that it's self-aware. Keep that in mind. It is self-aware about the aspect of the age gap. It is perfectly fine with telling you that, yes, society, if they see this, he's done for. That's the thing that I think a lot of people don't realize. It's not that it's going for this. It's that it's purposely pointing it out. That, yes, they can't be caught together. If they get caught together, they're done. And yeah, the husband's a little bit dumb about this. Like, he's going, but you're my wife. And a lot of it is because he never moved on. And that's a story beat. It's like one of those things where you're criticizing it and going, assuming that it's all about this grown-up guy suddenly getting his wife is now suddenly an elementary school student. But no, it's pointing out that we can't be together. You can get in trouble. The wife is very clear about that. I can't be around you because you're going to get in trouble. But again, what's going through his head is not her physical appearance. He's not after her because now she's an elementary school student. He just suddenly goes, I lost this 10 years ago, and I've been upset ever since then. My life was devastated. I lost this thing that was precious to me. She worked so hard for me as a wife. We were going to do so many things together, and like a snap of a finger, she disappeared. Please don't leave me again. You finally came back. Please don't leave me again. And yes, there's a joke like right here where it says, well, in 8 years, we'll have to wait 8 years because then we can get married again. It's not a physical thing. It's just strictly, this is my wife. And that's pretty much it. The focus here is mostly, in narrative, is family, losing something and moving on. And he has never moved forward. He has never moved on. And there's a lot of discussion about the fact that, yes, he has another opportunity for a new person to remarry and move on. Because that eventually gets us into what I think was the biggest gut punch and was the most intriguing thing about the story, was eventually getting the wife's perspective. Because again, like I said earlier, yes, she was reborn in this world. The title makes you believe that suddenly she just like reincarnates and suddenly she's an elementary school student. No, she died, she went through rebirth and was born from a woman over here, a different family, and she was raised, and it wasn't until she was 10 years old that she suddenly remembered everything. Now, this is the key thing, because her family that she was born to, and this, again, spoilers within these first 12 chapters, which I'm going to assume, 4 or 5 episodes will be for the anime adaptation, but this is the intriguing hook, so if you want to listen to this, listen to this. Her family, her new family, her mother is abusive. She is in a very broken house. A very terrifying and broken house. And even her, even if she is reborn, she acknowledges that I am a child and I am weak and I cannot do anything. I can be harmed and I could do nothing about it. Her family is broken. Her father and her mother got in arguments all the time. Eventually the father left, they divorced, and now the mother is just abusive, and she is terrifying. The thing is here is the moment that she recalled the memories of her previous life, she sought it out because her current life is not warm. It is broken. It is cold. So she goes over to check out her previous family from, that she hasn't seen in 10 years. And suddenly she's connecting to them again. And yes, criticizing them for not moving forward and everything. But suddenly she feels the warmth of her last family. And she wants that so much. But she can't have it. She can't have it. Because eventually the mother realizes that she's going out and doing things and she's not allowed to. So there's this whole thing where she wants to see her family because it's warm. And every time she goes back home to this abusive household, she's like, it's cold and it's scary. And I want to go back to this. I want this again. I've lost this. So it turns into literally both the husband and the wife have experienced that separation, that loss, because she can't have that old family back. She lost it. It's almost like they died. And then for the husband, and obviously the daughter as well, they lost her. They lost their mother. They lost their wife. And they can't have it back. This entire thing so far with these 12 episodes, it's about domestic violence. It's about abuse. It's about the fears of a child living in a dark and terrifying home. That warmth that comes from getting somewhere else and experiencing something else. It's about family. It's about loss. It's about regrets. It's about all the things that you wanted to do with your loved one, cherishing your loved one while you can. And yes, the idea of getting that second chance is there. The element of that second chance is there. But mixed within it, yes, is a little bit of a comedy around the idea that, yes, this guy goes out with the wife again to buy a gift for the daughter, and suddenly the coworkers show up and they're terrified as to what his preference is. The jokes are still sprinkled throughout that. But again, it's self-aware to it. It's not acting on it, at least again, like I said, for 12 episodes, and I'm assuming based on feedback from a lot of people that it's going to be the case. It doesn't act on it. It's actually pointing out. It's pointing out this is a dangerous thing, but again, there's this element of family getting back together. Yes, would it have been easier if she reincarnated as a dog? Probably. Would it have been easier if she reincarnated as a chair? Probably. Yeah, there's a lot of things here, but I think why I would say this is okay to get into, because for those who don't know, my stance on this kind of stuff is no matter what they're really doing there, it should still exist. I think this freedom of expression and freedom of storytelling and writing and speech should never be broken. So if they want to do something kind of questionable, perfectly fine. I probably wouldn't read it. The thing here is the reason why it has to be her being reborn as a new person, why it has to be an elementary school student is because the writer is actually doing something with it. It's not being done for the fetish. It's not being done for the sake of dabbling in that. Yes, again, the comedy's there, but the comedy is just to facilitate the story. It's just mingled in there. It's acknowledging why it's questionable. But again, the point is that it's actually doing something with it, because it's about the wife now being somebody else's daughter and in a very abusive relationship. And again, also having her own life and how that conflicts with her past life. That element there that even if this family is getting a taste of what they had before, it might eventually not be able to stay together. Because again, she has her own life. They have their new lives. And there's a lot of discussion about moving on, moving forward. It's a lot to do with them getting those opportunities they lost because she died, but still acknowledging the aspect of moving on. And that's the important thing there. So I love it. I love it so far. I'm super hyped for this anime adaptation now. So fall is going to be pinned on my calendar as something that already has something truly amazing that I'm looking forward to. I mean, besides the usuals like ReZero and stuff like that, I cannot wait for this. So hopefully this little kind of run through of my thoughts on the actual manga might get you guys intrigued as well. Or if you actually read the manga and you loved it, let me know in the comments down below. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video as always. If you did, make sure to hit that like button down below. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed. And until next time, y'all take care.